Ramana Maharshi. How many have heard the name Ramana Maharshi? Pretty good. Pretty good. What do you know about it, or what do you think of him?
He made it.
I knew I would have an answer for that. Well, he's my favorite guy. Picture him. See, of course, I thought he was a good guy for me to be friendly with too, because he give me a break, you know. They put a line of ours in there, and it has a preface. Yeah, I didn't know it was that. It says, a gently indrawn breath with no thought can bring the ecstasy of total awareness beyond words. In these 3 books of answers to inquiries, Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi, without offending common sense, reason, or logic, has come as close as possible to say the unsayable and points the way, innumerable ways for you to find the self and be. To understand the ultimate experience must be intimate. Beyond that which you think is that which you are. Realizing this does not involve specific practices and attitudes other than understanding. No withdrawal is necessary. No change of present time, place, or condition. Only change of view, point of view, which you bring about yourself, for yourself. A recent letter by S.S. Cohen says he sums up B, the whole practical teaching of Bhagavan. There is nothing in material life to compensate for it, neither wealth, sex, art, science, nor any other ideal, including dogs, I might add. It is the greatest good. It's bliss and truth absolute. Bhagavan found enlightenment for himself without any physical guru. Huh? In these books of questions asked and answered, you may find your answer. This can be a trip to end all trips. Find out who you are, and you can't help but be. Know that you immortal, and you have but to be. May all beings be well, may all beings be happy. Peace, peace, peace. Written by Joe and Gwen Miller. That's my better half sitting over there. So, here's the guy that wrote, in a country that I don't imagine the people figured out what he meant, although he told them all about it. They didn't understand it. Now, if I can get 1 or 2 of you, or 3 of you, to dig what this is about, you have saved yourself an awful lot of trouble in the future. So the answer to this is the spiritual teaching of Ramana Maharshi. Now, first question that you'd like to ask is, what do you mean be? Huh? Wouldn't that be natural? How can you believe that the answer of all spiritual teachings are in that simple single word, just be? Can you believe that possible? Huh? What the hell? After all, this is in America, so any idea that you have, anybody can try it. The spiritual being that you are in the center of your being, which is always there. Spirit itself is you. And that's the spirit that maintains and keeps everything alive on the planet. However, making it a little difficult for you folks, we all have special things that we want to have. I want this, I want that, God, I want that. Huh? Well, what you've got is more value than anything else you can imagine. And that's becoming a part of the reality which you all are. No questions? How could I do that? Just me. Why the hell can't you? Have you done any inquiry into yourself? Or why you do this? Or why you do that? All answers you've got inside of yourself. There's no mystic something that somebody can hand you that'll do the job for you. That includes you, Noisy. Okay? Just be, but don't be Krishna. Instead of that, be that ideal beyond that, your real self. And if you could find that in yourself, you wouldn't worry about these things you have to go through in this particular life you're in. You'd be settled with something. You'd become relaxed. Be at home with it. Huh? What you really are in essence is so much greater than you conceive yourself to be. Each one of us is a spark of that eternal being. So he said, all you have to do is be. What he means is, can you let go of all the crap that you particularly are holding on, that life to be complete, I must have this or that. Why don't you just let's go and see who you are and what you are. That's what Ramana was teaching. And when I heard it, I had a hunch that this is where it's at. And I still think that that's where it is. I'm doing a talk on a particular sutra that's supposed to teach the way of enlightenment. But if you can dig this thing that I'm trying to tell you and have a moment of it, you say, what in the hell do I need to trouble with anything else? This gives me a chance to be graduated here and move to a different level. At least all the time I'm here. I can be in harmony with it. And that's what we're talking about. All you have to do is be. Just be God, that's all. And in your essence, you are that God. There's only one essence. We're all living by it. Bodies we wouldn't have if it wasn't for that. Here's a man tells you, just be. Be who you are. For instance, if you decide to ask yourself who you are, you can say, well, this is me, and give the name, but who are you? It's that other part that nothing could harm. The reality itself. The thing that people have stopped going to churches because they think it's a lot of crap. There's no way of getting that anyway. All they're trying is, some people are trying to make a living out of it. But when you find this for yourself, you don't have to talk to somebody else about it. You'll know where you found it. Of course, you might go nuts in the meantime and be in a movie hatch down there. But if you really find it, that quietness, stillness, and realization of who you are, other than this particular lifetime you're living, and all the other things in your karmic background that you have to straighten up. Inside of you is a part of you that can change it all. You appeal to that part and experience on it. One way, by meditation, whatever you can imagine of any human activity would be a part of it. They wish to make it so. But find that reality by being still. In other words, you could look to the Christian Bible and it says, be still and know that I am God. Try it sometime. You might surprise the hell out of you. And the answer you were looking for could be there. It's only by way of your curiosity that you might try it. And it would work. And you'd love it. All right? What would a sign of that be? A sign of it would be that regardless of all your troubles that you're having in life or difficulties would disappear and you would get in the void state, the state of realizing the reality itself. Now, until you get tired of the games you're playing here in a human body, you probably won't get to it very easily. But you can try for it. And once in a while, you can fall into it. For instance, when you have a time, whether all circumstances that are against you are tough times, then if you have a time where you wake up in the morning and it's all gone. It's all gone. You don't need to worry about it no more. You're up there. You're high. And a high that nobody else can tell you about it because you have to experience and feel it to know what I'm talking about. But each and every one of us has that marvelous ability within us. Like I know one man here, seated facing me now. He has a strong desire to do a certain type of business. And he's got into it now. Now he's very satisfied that he's picked a place that's going to get him to what he wants. But even beyond that, it's the thing, everything's all right. As it is now. Let go and be. That's the trick. But if you have some ambition, you want to go work off in a lifetime, what the hell, do it. But realize that the inner part of you is the pure essence. And you can touch it once in a while. And once in a while, you can fall into it, depending whether your karma is right for it or not. You can try it. But if you got something you want to do first, go ahead and work on it. What do you want in life? Figure what you really want, not some bungalow on a hill or anything like that, but what you really want to have satisfaction in your heart and soul, that you would feel, there it is. Why have I left? I can go home if I want to. Huh? This is not a passing thing. But most people don't think it's worthwhile to spend your life loving other people. I'm trying to help all of them. Huh? I'm one of those crazy coots. I believe in that. I go for it. That shows how nuts I am. But, you know, you got to have a devoted wife to put up with that. And she puts up with it. Of course, it's not the first wife I've had. But the other ones, they looked askance at me as if I was nuts. And politely so was the way they looked at it, I was nuts. But it didn't work. Of course, I had a trouble when I was younger, because, when I was old, I wanted a younger girl, of course, and sexy, Joe. And then everyone that I could inveigle into good in my little place, you know. After about a year's time, they got wise to me. And they'd say, I'm sorry, Joe, this is the end of the line. And they'd leave. And I thought, well, I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll move to a different part of the country. I did. But that didn't work out either. I remember the last third wife I had. It rather discouraged me in my efforts to find it in that way. I'd come into the house at night and she said, "Who is it?" And I said, "Joe." And she says, "Joe who?" And then I knew it was time for me to get through with that one too. And then I looked at Gwen and I said, well, she's got all the things that I'd like to have in a wife. And sold on her. And it stuck there for over 30 some years. 34. Now that's a pretty good record. Around a place where Sufis are, you'll find damn few of them. You know, they move more rapidly than that. But this thing that I'm talking about, you can find that inner self of you. Take it calmly, and the harder you try, the less chance you'll have of getting it, really. Because that's the special dispensations and so, I don't do it. But when you're perfectly relaxed, not worrying about anything, all of a sudden, you've found the thing you're looking for. And then after you've found it, it's so wonderful. You think, I'm never going to leave here again. I'm going to stay here. But you know, after it goes, then you're going to look a hell of a long time to find it later. But leave yourself open for that and realize how you got to it. That you're relaxed and was still. And realize that you are that part, the realization. And you can find to it, come to it. Some people do come to it. Of course, the particular young man that I'm talking about, he'll come to it when he makes $1 million. And I think he will. He's a little nuts, but I think he's going to make it. And then he can devote his time to other people that don't get the answers of what he's saying to them. Because he talks to them all the time to try to help them to get the answer. Huh? Now, you say, well, if you do something like that, would life be worthwhile without it? Why wouldn't it be? If you're comfortable eating, sleeping, going in, what's the use of making a big fuss about it if you can't make it in the particular way you want to have it? But if you wanted to have it in some way, go ahead and do it. But don't forget of that magical reality that you have within you, that you can find, and it's there. Funny thing, especially speaking of Buddhist teaching, you know, they say, well, you can meditate, you can do 5,000 what have you, but, you know, you don't promise that they're going to get anywhere. However, they had a late book that was published in Tibet, and this guy openly said, yes, you've got to do it for yourself, and nobody else can do it for you. However, you can look at a Christian teaching to realize that it's there within you. God bless you. And may you get rid of your cold. I know how they are. What do you think? Would you like to try it? Well, if you want to, it's in your bag. You can do with it as you wish. I'm trying to say something to you that I normally don't say to people because this is a stormy night. Hell, I didn't know whether to have half a dozen people here or not. So I gotta give you something a little extra, you know? Because you deserve it for coming down here. I remember one night, we had a guy in the back of the house, and he said finally when I was asking him questions, he said, here, you know how to put that in this pocket, put it in. See, I get service out of her instead of her yelling at me. It takes years to do this. Thank you very much. There you go, do take it to him, all right. Thank you very much. Think of it right now. You think about angels or devils or whatever the hell you want to, or get into the astral plane and imagine they're all around you all the time. That's a lot of crap. That's your own mind playing tricks with you. But there's a part of you that knows the reality. And come to that and live with it. That's supposed to happen. Any questions? Speak up! If you want.
Yes, Joe, what qualities did Gwen have that you liked, that you appreciated?
What did you say?
What qualities did Guinevere have that made you want to marry her? That's what she asked.
I found out someone I really love. I loved her. And she wasn't trying to tell me that I gotta take exercise to get my bones straightened out. And, you know, in fact, this one wife, the one that said, well, if you really love me, you've had this insurance policy long enough now that you could commit suicide.
Oh no.
And look what a wonderful time I got.
He's really had some charming wives.
That's the one that said to me, go who?
Joe.
So,
I have a question.
oh yes, oh shoot, there it goes. Brrr. I got the button on there. All right,
When people have awakening, they make it sound like the easiest thing in the world, and we're a ship of fools for not falling overboard into the infinite sea. But to each person who had that awakening, it was as hard for them as it was for us. But it seems everybody always says, you're so stupid, why aren't you awake?
that's right. That's right, baby.
But they weren't awake till they were awake either.
But you see, you've had spots of it, but you're an idiot about it. Instead of treasuring those spots, or you had that lift that got you out of it, you got sucked back into it one way or another. That's all. Because you've had points in a long time you've been having them. But you know, you've got a lot of little things that you want to have, whatever it might be. Huh? How do you like that? That's so good, but I'm being honest with you. Because we love you. I love everybody. You know why you can love everybody? You still got a wife, and you love her in another way. But there's universal love that you can tune into and become at one with that which loves everything. The same as you love your puppies and your kittens. That woman is a nice person. I've known her for years, ever since she was a pup. And we went to her house on a vacation. What happened? We were notified the next morning the cats had kittens in the bedroom while we were sleeping. Right? Yeah. We know a lot of peculiar people. I'm not saying nothing about you. Nobody's as nuts as I am. I work at that. But you know, I've never tried to clip anybody. I've been open and above board, living people, helping people if I could. And that's the motto I like to work at and live on. When I had kids, I had to support them, and of course I worked. Now that I'm old, you know what I mean, and on that, you know, you still get money from the government then you could be an old bastard like me, you know? And I'm at that point, see?
I have a question.
Huh?
Question.
I have a question.
Sure.
What's the difference between the universal love and the love you have for Gwen? Because
It is impersonalized to the point that it's all of the oneness is inclusive.
and with Gwen it's personal.
That's quite right. Her and I will probably get off in our little boats and take on a trip someday. And you know, I'm not worried about it. You know, some people that are worried about dying or that kind of crap, forget it. How do you manage you've kept alive this long? But you don't know where you were. So we don't know where we're going to, so there's nothing to be worried about that. But we do know there is that other place. Yes, Gwen?
I said I've heard the fact is you don't die anyhow.
Well, that's what I believe. So do you.
Yes,
Or I should admit that's a pretty wild too, you know? So, go ahead. Go ahead.
I know 4 or 5 couples that have broken up recently within the last 2 weeks, and a lot of tears and a lot of hurt. Why is it so hard for people to stay together?
What do you think?
Somebody.
Was it because she's not as attractive, or has he found somebody else more
In
attractive?
each instance, the man found some other woman more attractive than him.
Yeah, well, then they weren't in love with the person to begin with.
Anytime you want to know anything about a real marriage, Krista, take a look at your parents.
Who?
My parents.
Oh, yeah.
64 years together and they still like each other.
You should try the same.
It's too late.
So, think it over. See, there's people in the world that are as crazy as I am. Places that got lots of them in it.
Well,
But-
since we're talking about marriage, why do people get married? Anyway.
Well, it's legal to be married.
It's what?
Well,
She says, why do people stay
what
together?
the hell would happen to the children if
Oh,
there
people
wasn't
just get
some
married?
bonds that held it?
So that's why people get married, just for kids?
That's one of the main things. In
Is that
fact,
the main reason?
it seems to be. Because it's strange, many people I have known have gone together for a long period of time. But when they found out they were going to have a little one, they want to be married, make it legitimate. Got the picture? Wouldn't it be a dirty trick to have children and not provide for them? Huh? Hey!
Well, it happens. It is a dirty trick.
Yeah. I know. I'm sorry for people that do it because karmically they're going to have to pay the debt for it, treating them that way. But that's the way the ball bounces. But you see, you don't have to take life so seriously. We've lived before and we'll live again. You can't get out of it until you fall away. Then you get in another level. It would be wonderful. Somebody's put their hand up back there?
Yes.
Okay, speak up.
What would the masters that worked with the founders of the Theosophical Society say about the teachings of Ramana Maharshi?
Maharshi.
And how does, looking at some of the Alice Bailey work with the return of the plan on Earth for the evolution of mankind or whatever, how does, once you get into the state of being, how do we relate to this plan?
Obviously, you would relate to the plan if that's the plan. How do you know that maybe what we're facing now is a breakdown of all civilization on the planet? Because in the early days that it was written by Madame Blavatsky, we're coming into the end of an age, and it was to happen. And as long as you are interested in that particular thing, you're interested in a Bailey, I would say ask you this question. How do you close the door where evil dwells? Because you see, a door can be open or it can be shut, right? Go ahead, any more, come on.
Well,
Any
you-
more?
oh, well, you raise a lot of more interesting questions that could probably be a topic for a whole evening.
That's quite right.
I really appreciate you answering me like that.
Thank you.
When we come to the end of an age, maybe going back into our state of being is a good place to emerge, to end an age and go into a new age, which maybe has whole new rules and situations completely. So maybe.
Well, the one thing is this, if you followed what we've been talking about this evening, you would know that if they become enlightened, they would be enlightened. Nobody is claiming they are God around here. And if you were of that ilk, you wouldn't need anybody to tell you, and whatever happened to you physically, you wouldn't mind anyhow. Because you've had bodies before, and you'll have them again. What I was stating in Ramana Maharshi's teaching, that he proposed a way that people could find that reality within them. Be. Ask who you are. Are you your arms, or your legs, or your feet? No, you're not. You're something other than that. Or where do you go when you go to sleep? Huh? This kind of question, you know? Because it is taught on the teachings that, of course, we're in a different level in the sleep state. Now, someone's running all of this. Even if you didn't believe in it to begin with, you'd know that it has to be run by somebody. Huh? And don't you think, looking at the condition of civilization at this time, that there is a question as to whether we're coming to the end of an age or not? All of the difficulty in the world at the present. But if we do, so what? We'll move on. For instance, your mind and anyone else you know, do you know any two people that their minds work exactly alike? I don't think you do. Unless they're faking it. Because any opinion that you have, you can find the answer in the people in this room alone. My God, how many people would have answers to tell you? Huh? We don't have to worry about that. Thing is, this guy showed you one way. You could work at it and fall awake. And if you don't want to work at it, that's well and good. It's your treat.
I have a question for you.
Yes, ma'am.
You always joke about being crazy.
Yeah.
And then I remember you used to say something about not messing around with Kundalini because it really could make you crazy.
That's right.
So I'm getting the feeling when you're talking about Ramana that all you have to do is reach into this bag and take what's already there.
That's right.
Well,
If you got the guts to do it, then you know, work at it. Huh? But work at it without working at it. Because the effort would stop you getting to it.
okay, so, well, it sounds really simple. Maybe it's not easy. So, but it doesn't sound, it sounds completely harmless.
That's right.
Okay, so if there's a simple and harmless way to, find real peace.
That's right. That's what I'm talking about.
Is it really true that other things can make you crazy or harm you? I mean,
Yep. If you can get on an astral trip and be hooked with it for incarnations. That is, if you have a fixation on something, you say, oh, this horrible thing is going to happen, or that horrible thing is going to happen. 9 times out of 10, what you hope that will happen? To harm you. But your mind manufactures it as fast as you observe it. You know, it's a busy bee you got there. That's why they say you get beyond that. What's the words now? I may not remember it. Maybe you will, Glenn, or somebody else will remember it.
When the mind is left in the primordial unmodified condition, knowledge dawneth.
When this condition is maintained, comparable to the flow of a calm river, knowledge is completeness is retained, wholly abandon all directing and shaping of thoughts, ever maintain quiescence of mind, O yoga. Thank you, Mary.
Thank you.
It's good to have helpers, yes. Very good. What do you think about it? Do you think you could like to try it? Yeah, that's a beautiful part. This is you can try it on your own. Nobody has to know whether you blew it or not. You don't have to. Huh?
I have a question.
Sure.
You said that you work your way through this incarnation, or however many, and fall awake and go to another level. I've heard you say that before.
What do you want to know about it?
I don't know what that means, that you go to another level, and maybe I can't know what it means.
This, from the standpoint of Eastern philosophy, this whole thing that's happening for us as human beings, it's all hallucinatory. It isn't for real. So when we get out of the crap that we're into, we move to another level. We don't have to watch those funny movies that other people are playing there, and you'll find another level. Okay? Is that clarified?
Yeah.
Okay.
When people wake up, because become awakened beings.
Yeah,
Some, you've said, come back as bodhisattvas. They keep
that's right.
incarnating. Do others help mankind but not taking bodily form? Or do you
That's
think
right.
They do?
That's right. But their interests may be in another direction. But there's enough of them, I assure you, who take the bodhisattva vow
Does this
and
mean
work to come back
does
in.
this mean I'm going to see you again?
Hell yes! Maybe for ages, who knows? And when you look at the general minds of people that you meet, how long do you think it's gonna take to ever get Huh?
So don't get discouraged.
Yeah, you know, maybe you decide, well, what the hell, this is what? The fifth incarnation I've done with this. Skip it, we'll move to another level. Huh? Okay. I think that the thing that I used to yell out at the walks, I believe that sense of humor, common sense, that's where it is. And the more studying the more books we read and so forth, when we synthesize it in our own thinking, we come to certain viewpoints. And while you're fumbling your way to it, you see a lot of different things. But at least we get sensible enough after a bit that we don't fall in the certain traps we fell in to begin with. So all I am is a guy that aspires to be a helper of people. I mean, in an inner way. For instance, when we talk to this group here, before we started talking, and this is a conditioned group, you can feel what's happening from a mental field, where they've been listening and they become fixated to it. Of course, that's the way automobile salesmen sell automobiles. Huh? But we don't use it that way because we've got a different purpose. Help people. And suppose there's not a single one this evening that digs any truth of what I've been talking about. If one of them does, other people will at a later time say, I wonder what that old fossil meant about that. Huh? And maybe they'll say, well, the hell, it don't no harm in trying it. I don't have to hold my breath with my eyeballs fall off or anything like that. Huh? Be still and know that I am God. You are the God within you. That I that spoke in you, if it does, that's that reality. Pretty good, huh? Oh, well, what the hell, it's an idea. Yeah.
In reference to somebody who asked a question, in reference to, like we talk a lot about going crazy if you're on the path, or you're crazier than this if you listen to me, but the underlying primal fear of losing one's consciousness, like the statement, I'm going crazy. Master Paul used to say that if you try to remember or be in touch, that even if your mind did go crazy, it would be like a canoe thinking it is lost in the ocean, assuming that the ocean is a conscious being, like the universal mind.
Oh, that's the point. That's not bad at all. But I don't want to be a lost guy on a canoe.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that. What I mean to say,
No, none of that.
no, what I mean to say is that the bottom line is you cannot be lost in God, even if you
You
are
can't
lost.
be lost where you are. And you can't get out of it until you go through a hell of a lot of karma.
That's true.
So what the hell?
Well,
You might as well lean back and enjoy it.
Yeah, that's what I'm
Why
saying.
sweat it out?
How can you enjoy karma?
No, I mean,
Mary, can you enjoy karma?
How can you enjoy karma? Some of it's good.
Why not? Karma's good and bad. It might be on one side of the scale or the other. It's all worked on the field of positives and negatives. Figure it out. It's good or it's bad. Those are the positive end of it. But no, they not be that too bad or they not be so good. Oh, well, hell, that's all right. Go to the next level and try. Yeah?
Why does it seem like the mind only remembers the good?
What's that?
It seems like the mind only remembers the good after a long time. You look back and everything, you know, even the bad stuff, you see
Aren't
like-
you lucky?
Yeah.
Aren't you lucky? Somebody saying, why, that bastard did me wrong, I'm gonna kick his, well, you know. Huh? You're lucky. You got a good consciousness inside of you. You're a good person, whether you like it or not. I give you a bow. Anything you want to ask?
Next time we'll just put her name on the program.
We're going to let her do a dance on the front of the place. Asking questions. You know, these are questions we already have. Now, if you want to bring some new ones, then bring them up. Go ahead, kid.
Did Ramana Maharshi die of cancer from burning his own karma or from taking on karma from his disciples? Where did his cancer come from such an enlightened consciousness?
That's not a damn thing to do with it, of having an enlightened consciousness. You could have the germ of having whatever particular ailment you would have. And it goes, you know, nobody, all of them don't all turn out to be fluttering, flacing angels. Just human beings that found out about it. Even you with that snake-like back you've got could be. Who knows? She slowed down for that. So this is the kind of talks that I have a tendency to have and give, because I really do love people and I mean it. And let me take a look and see. Hey, we're on overtime. Get the hell out of there and play the piano, will you? All right, turn off that light.
Sir, yes. Aye, aye.
There you go.